Yeah, okay. Okay, the time is 6:30, and I call this special meeting of the Red Oak City Council to order. Let it be known that we do have a quorum present. We have Councilman Goodwin, Councilman Lightfoot, and Mayor Pro Tem Councilman Drake present. And online we have Councilman Franklin and Councilman Smith. Notice has been duly posted in accordance to the Texas Government Code Section 551, and by order from the governor, we're able to conduct this meeting both in person and by video conference. We do have two and maybe three citizens who have asked to speak, and we'll go in the order that they were turned in. Ms. Story. And if you go up to the mic, it should be live. Are you okay standing, or do you need a chair?
I'm good.
Okay. You have 2 minutes. Just state your address and what you want to let us know.
Mayor and Council, my name is Penny Story. I live at 106 South Summit here in Red Oak. Okay, very tall. So I understand that the projection here or proposal is to have the de minimis tax rate. Is that correct?
That is not correct. Not tonight.
So we haven't decided yet. Is that the point?
No, tonight's meeting is about our budget.
Totally about the budget. Okay.
That is correct. But you may sure go ahead and speak.
Well, I will speak on the next meeting, which will deal with your tax rate. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Next meeting.
And that is Monday night at 6:30.
Monday night.
Okay? Is that all you had tonight? Okay. Thank you. And I'm Ms. Kim. I can't see you say your last name. Sturman. If you would come up and state your address, and you have 2 minutes to.
Hi, my name is Kim Sturman, and I'm relatively new to Red Oak. I moved here October.
What's your address? I'm sorry.
201 Methodist Street.
Okay.
Red Oak, Texas. I'm in an old 1923 home that's been redone. I moved here October of 2020, and I wanted to come to city council meetings, but they didn't hold them at that time, and so I'm just trying to get involved with the community and need to understand the budget and the difference between this year and last year. Can I ask questions here?
It is just for your comments, and there is a public hearing, so when that comes up, you can kind of talk about that.
Okay.
So
are you saying at the public hearing I can ask questions about the budget?
Good.
Actually, the public hearing, the budget is actually on the website and so forth.
Okay.
So you're here to give your input on the budget.
Okay.
And
well, I wanted to know the difference between this year's budget and last year's budget.
So the comparison are side to side.
Yes.
They're on the website. Mm-hmm.
They are on the website?
They are on the
website. Okay, I
website.
didn't see that part. All right, thank you. I'll look into that more detail. But what I'd like to just bring forward is, as the city is working on creating budgets and everything, just be cognizant of the fact, as I'm sure you all are, that we've had a great deal increase in property values and also a lot of buildings.
So we don't have anything to do with property values. Our board doesn't have anything to do with property values.
Yes, sir, I understand that.
Okay.
But as you are going to be assessing a tax rate, and that has a lot to do with property value. So like there is a no new revenue tax rate that's been recommended by the state of Texas, I believe. And is that, then you have your own tax rate that you're going to come up with to.
So that's your 2 minutes, I'm sorry. So you might be able to come back up, on this next, when we have our public hearing, but for the citizens' comments, we've limited it to 2 minutes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Stearman. And,
It's Meg Anastovich, and,
okay, yeah,
my question is answered, thank you.
okay. Thank you very much. We'll put this in file for, that you came, so. Okay, so now we're at the regular meeting, and it is to conduct a public hearing on the proposed fiscal year annual operating budget for the city of Red Oak, Texas, and consider adoption of resolution number 22-064R, establishing a date to consider approving an ordinance adopting the proposed fiscal year 2022-2023 annual operating budget for the city of Red Oak, Texas, and providing an effective date. Ms. Platt?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Council has given direction to staff to hold this public hearing on the budget at the special council meeting tonight. This is the proposed budget for fiscal year 2023, and by law, this must be held prior to the date of the tax levy and adoption, which is scheduled for next Monday night on the 29th. Again, at the conclusion of the public hearing, staff would recommend that council adopt the resolution to schedule the adoption for next week.
Okay. All right, so I know you read all that again. Councilman Goodwin, did not catch all of that. Can I get you to repeat it a little bit louder?
Okay, yes. So,
Can you hear that?
Yeah, speaking of.
okay, so on August 8th, council gave direction to staff to hold this public hearing for the proposed budget for fiscal year 2023 at this special council meeting. By state law, we must hold this public hearing prior to the date of the tax levy and tax adoption, which we have scheduled for next Monday night on the 29th.
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay.
And then staff does recommend at the conclusion of the public hearing to approve the resolution, which will schedule the actual adoption for next week.
Okay. All right. So now, this is a public hearing, and we will open the public hearing at 6:38, and I assume now I'll let anyone who wants to speak on the public hearing for this operating budget to please approach, state your name, and if we don't have your address, please restate that. Yes, ma'am. Yep, you bet. And on this one, we'll limit you to 4 minutes. We don't really have a specific time, but since there may have been some cutoff time on that last time, then I'll extend that for you.
Thank you.
You bet.
I don't have the budgets in front of me, and I was kind of thinking that maybe they would be here ready since we're going to be discussing them. I didn't know we had to have them online.
I think that's like 600 pages or whatever, so we wouldn't have a copy, but it is online.
The budget's 600 pages?
Well, it has all the backup data. I don't know, it's a big book. How many, do you know?
We've been covering the budget for,
A
a
month.
couple months now. Yeah.
Okay. The question that I wanted to raise was, what is the difference between this year's budget and last year's budget?
Okay, so that's one question, and this is a public hearing, so we'll take note of that. Anything else?
And yes, I just wanted to make sure that everyone, when they're considering budgets and tax rates, has to understand how much our taxes levied on the citizens here of Red Oak is going up. The average home is about $260,000, and with what I saw as the proposed tax rate, which I'm assuming is to cover your budget, then that would put everyone's, monthly tax bill at about $450 a month. That is a lot of money for people whose minimum are, you know, the average wage in Red Oak is $76,000 a year. And we all know our taxes with the federal government are going up, our gas prices are going up, our food is going up, inflation is crazy. And so we just need to be as fiscally responsible as a city here in these trying times. And so I'm asking for everyone to look deep into how to help the public taxpayer with this levying process on their taxes. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am, thank you. Mr. Griffin?
Pass right now.
Okay. I mean, if you still need to gather your thoughts, we can go on,
Sure.
since you just came in late. The story? Okay. Okay. Is there anybody online that wants to speak? Okay. Council, do you have any, statements or anything like that before we close this public hearing? Or you want to close it and then talk?
So moved.
Okay. So Councilman Goodwin to close, Councilman Drake to close. Those in favor? Aye.
Drake, aye.
That's what I.
Franklin, I.
Harry.
Smith, aye.
All right, so that closes 5-0. Okay. So, Ms. Stearman, the one thing I can tell you is, yes, we don't take that lightly. We look at what services we need to be able to provide for all citizens. We did lower our tax rate compared to last year, albeit a small amount. Again, the people that you need to be talking to are your appraisers, because they're the ones that appraise the value, and that's what gets us the dollar amount. But our tax rate is less than what it was last year. Our budget is, do you have a number? It's maybe, like, so total dollar amount that
budget.
on the M&O side,
For general fund?
for general.
Okay, the general fund increase.
Rush.
It's actually the fund balance that is pulled up. I have some summary documents here that I can find.
Okay, Rush. And does that happen to have last year's, so we can answer that question?
I have last year's. So last year's total expenditures budgeted in the general fund are $18,025,470. General fund this year in the proposed budget is $26,120,400.
Okay. Thank you. So it went from 18 to 26, and that's because of property values going up. There is this, we are at our de minimis rate, and that's what we chose to set our budget at, our tax rate at. So that's what we're going to be voting on and talking about next week. We're not supposed to allow you, but I might be able to answer.
I thought the story asked you if you were going to do this in a...
We're not voting on that. I'm giving you more information about what you had asked, but that's what next week's is what we adopt.
Okay.
So right now, we're doing our operating budget, which is going to be about $26 million.
So $8 million more than last year.
That is correct.
And what is that encompassing in addition to that $8 million?
So you would have to look at all the, probably look at that, all the stuff that's on the website that has that listed, comparison from last year to this year. Because some of that is salary increases, that's job hires, that's equipment replacement, for providing fire rescue,
Fire trucks.
things like that.
It's also inflation costs for construction. All the inflationary things that you're talking about, they affect the things the city buys and purchases as well.
So,
It's one of the trickle downs of, you know, we wish we could control inflation, but we can't. We're impacted by it. It's much more than we can control it, and as reflected in these numbers.
And Gloria, that is the total revenue of total expenditures, so that's including sales tax and other revenues as well. That's not just strictly the property tax.
Yeah, thanks for clarifying.
That includes $6.4 million of capital expenditures, such as road improvements and road fire engine.
So $7 million of that is those capital expenditures.
They're costing more than they would a year ago for us.
That's more than what we're supposed to go into, but that kind of gives you an idea of how we identify that, okay?
Okay. Why is it you're not supposed to give us more information? Understand that part.
Well, this is a public hearing. This is for us to hear from you all. You all typically would see the budget on the website or out where it's in the public domain, and then come in with your comments to give input on that budget. You know, we've already been through the budget, you know, in several meetings, and now it's just you as public coming in and giving input on that.
So that information had to be posted in newspapers and stuff that were declaring these meetings. And it refers back to the website that shows where that budget is or where those items are.
I have a question. What if people don't have access to that website?
So,
Probably on file at the city secretary's office.
And we've had workshops as well that were public.
You contact the city secretary or?
Oh, yeah, I was thinking, I mean, even if you couldn't get online, we've had budget workshops where we've gone through some of these things, like for the public.
But yes, the city secretary's office does have it on file.
Get a wheelbarrow. I mean, I don't know how many.
That's what she's flipping through right there, these numbers, it's a big document.
I don't know how many pages it is, but it's a lot.
Every meeting that we have is always.
We'll get on the automatic.
Okay. So, council, online too, any other comments that you want to kind of make on this? This is the information that we've been working on since June.
No, sir.
No questions.
And staff's been working on since March, April, I don't know, somewhere in there. Okay, so I'm looking for a motion to approve ordinance number, resolution number 22-064R.
So moved.
All right, Councilman Craig.
Second.
Councilman Lightfoot. Sorry about that, Councilman Lightfoot got that? Those in favor?
Aye. Drake, aye. Lightfoot, aye.
Franklin, I.
Smith, aye.
All right, so that passes 5-0. Item 2, consider adoption of resolution number 22-065R, the City Council, City of Red Oak, Texas, amending the terms and conditions of the grant agreement by and between the Motor Vehicle Crime Prevention Authority, agency of the state of Texas, and the City of Red Oak, Texas, as provided by Exhibit A, attached hereto and incorporated herein, authorizing the city manager to execute the necessary documents and providing an effective date. Platt.
Yeah, so this is a grant from the Motor Vehicle Crime Prevention Authority, a division of the state of Texas, for a license plate reader system. And so this is approving the terms and conditions of the agreement and the award for an amount up to $20,000 for that system. And that it's subject to council's approval. And then also Chief Wolf is here to answer any questions you might have about the equipment or those type of details.
Okay. Council, is there any questions on this? Chief, is this something that we've used for several years, or is this something new?
Mayor and council, in the past, we've utilized mobile license plate readers on some of our vehicles. These are stationary fixed positions that we can place at different places or major arterials for ingress and egress out of the city, capture license plates. And what it does is there's a national-wide database that tells us if a vehicle's stolen, if it's being used in human trafficking or suspected of being used in human trafficking. It has a myriad of purposes. Our Criminal Investigations Division, who partners with, and we're part of the Auto Theft Task Force, which is a regional organization, encouraged us to put in for the funds to be able to receive these stationary fixed position license plate readers at major intersections in town. We put in for that grant. We were awarded the grant. We were one of, I think, 35 or 40 agencies in the state that qualified for it. We're hoping that it'll help with a reduction of stolen motor vehicles, human trafficking, catalytic converter thefts, and allow us to be able to track some of the movements in town of those stolen vehicles. And what will happen is we will get an alert that'll come across our computers and our vehicles telling us that the plate that was just scanned by one of these units located at whatever intersection that it's at, and will give us an actual physical description of the car, any pertinent characteristics of that vehicle, and actually takes a picture of it and sends it to the computer so the officers know what they're looking for. It's met with great success in a lot of the agencies where it's been used, and so they're just trying to get more of these out there when a vehicle is stolen and it gets entered into the system for us to be able to find it, recover it quicker, so it's not used in any other nefarious acts. I think we're very fortunate to have received a grant for this, and we have a couple other grants that are similar to this in the works as well.
So are those stationary, permanently mounted, or are they mobile that you can move around?
They are permanently mounted, but you can remount those if you're not getting the success that you want in particular areas to maybe a better location, and it's just a matter of contacting the company that does the install to be able to move those, and there's a nominal fee that goes with that to be able to move those. But this is an opportunity for us to use these grant funds to be able to put these in place where we haven't been able to do that.
Council, any other questions?
Yeah, do you already have one selected, Chief?
We do so.
Is it for the 20,000, or is that just the maximum of the grant?
That's the maximum that the grant allows, and this will, the company that we're looking at, it will allow us to be able to fund 5 cameras.
That amount?
For that amount.
And so our cost for that will be 20%, and the grant will cover 80%? Is that how it works?
I believe our portion of it is about $4,000.
Yeah, okay. 4,000 if we go with the $20,000.
Yes, sir.
Or $24,000 unit. Right. And any issues with the personnel requirements, like there's some training has to be done, we have.
They've
already set aside to do this.
They provide all of the training as part of this grant. So it's just a matter of scheduling our people to attend that training and getting them into the class. So every unit will have access to this. Each marked patrol unit will have access to this data. And then our Criminal Investigation Division vehicles that are upfitted with tablets will be able to access this information.
Mr. Mayor, I have a question. Councilman Franklin.
Please.
Chief Wolf, good evening. What is the maintenance requirements on those radars?
On these particular license plate readers, they have a service life of about 10 years. But again, that's all heat and weather dependent, and the company comes out periodically to assess and evaluate the condition of the cameras. If one goes down or it's not reading, then that's part of the maintenance agreement on this, is that they will replace the actual camera system as well, as part of the grant. So our maintenance on it is minimal at best. Maybe the poles that we put them on, but other than that, there's really not any maintenance cost to us.
Will this be tied into a national database or just regular?
So there's a lot of different LPR companies out there. They all feed a central database. Record companies use them on their vehicles, repossession companies use them. So anywhere these cars are driving around, it's capturing that data that if we were driving around in our squad car, we could type that on our computers. What this does is it makes it more autonomous, so the operator of the vehicle can concentrate on driving the vehicle and not have to worry about typing in plates, and it does it automatically, so it does it much faster than us having to manually type in that. And so it allows us to read, hypothetically, 10 times the amount of plates that we've been able to run manually in an hour. So it just automates that process and makes it easier. So if you're on a public roadway and I'm driving down the road, I can run your tag. This just does it automatically.
Good. Okay, I'll entertain a motion to approve, adopt resolution, 22-065R. Councilman, Lightfoot, Councilman Drake. Those in favor?
Drake, aye. Lightfoot, aye.
Franklin, I.
Smith, aye.
That passes 5-0. We have no executive session. I'll entertain a motion at 6:57 to adjourn. I'll move. Councilman Goodwin. Lightfoot. Those in favor?
Aye.
Drake, aye.
Lightfoot, aye.
Franklin, I.
Smith, aye.
That passes 5-0. Thank you all very much, and we'll see y'all next week.